Hey guys, it's Miss Sorbase. Today we're going to be talking about decimal place value. We're going to do a notes. We're going to do some activities or some more problems down here so that you can complete your assignment for today. Okay, so the first thing is your vocabulary for this um, unit is here below. The value we've been talking about value for the past couple of weeks using whole number value is the worth of a number. So the worth of this 8 is 8 hundredths. Okay, that's the value of it. It's kind of like expanded form. Okay, so it's the value of the 8. The place is where the digit is located. So again, this 8 is located in the hundredths place. And I like to always either circle or underline that THS at the end because I like to emphasize that it's hundredths place um, because it just needs to be emphasized. You know, you want to make sure you're saying the numbers correctly. The digit, again, is the symbol that represents the numbers. Those are the digits. Standard form is a normal way we write a number. This number is written in standard form. It's 4 and 81 thousandths. In fourth grade, we usually just deal with hundredths, but I figured that we can have a little jump start since we've already been talking about tenths and hundredths for a couple of days now. We can talk. I can introduce the thousandths place. Okay, to get you ready for fifth grade. Okay, word form is writing a number using words 4 and 81 thousandths. Just like in the other families, the units family, the thousands, the millions, or the billions, you wouldn't say 081, you would say 81. And then the name of that family is thousandths. Expanded form is writing a number using its values. So here we have 4 plus 81 hundredths and 1 thousandths. Okay. Tenths. Okay. Tenth is a whole broken into 10 parts. So that's whenever you have, let's say, an apple and you break it up into 10 pieces. Okay. 10 equal pieces, 10 equal parts. Hundredths is broken into 100 parts, 100 equal parts. Thousandths are broken into 1,000 parts. Okay, 1,000 equal parts. And a decimal is a number that is less than 1 based on 10. So a decimal point is used to separate the whole number in decimal places. So those are two different words. I probably should have brought this down here because they are two different words. A decimal is any number that's less than 1. Um, and a decimal point is that little symbol that's used to separate the whole numbers and the decimal places. Okay, here's your chart. The Here we still have the units, thousands, millions, and billions over here, just like we do normally. But now we have the tenths, hundredths, and thousands. These are the tenths, THS, hundredths, THS, and thousands, THS. Okay? What I like to tell my students is that if you look at the tenths, there's a zero, 1 0. That represents one space after the decimal. The hundred has 2 zeros, that's 2 spaces after the decimal. And 3 zeros here is 3 spaces after that decimal. Okay, so that's how I like to tell them about the chart. Okay, here I'm going to go out of order. We're going to do this one first because I think this one is the one that we've had practice on lately. Okay, here we have, oh, you can barely see this. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 43 spaces or 43 hundredths are shaded, and there's 100 total spaces there. Just like in your fractions when you were in third grade, These are 43 out of 100. Well, now, how do you write that as a decimal? Well, there's zero whole numbers shaded. There's 43 hundredths. Two zeros and two spaces there, 43 hundredths. Here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10 spaces shaded, 5 tenths. Well, there's zero whole numbers, zero holes shaded, and there's 5 tenths. And I know that there's only one uh, digit after the decimal that's going to be there because 1 0 on the 10th place. Okay. Here we have one whole number shaded. That's a 1. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of 100. So that's 1 and 15 hundredths. Okay. That's actually called a mixed number because there's a whole number mixed together with a fraction, mixed number. Okay. So how do you write that as a decimal? 1 and 15 hundredths. So there's two zeros there. There's two spaces here after the decimal. Here we have 2, then we have 2 tenths because it's in 10 uh, equal parts. The decimal is 2 and 2 tenths. One space because 1 0. Okay. The next one is there's zero holes, so I don't have to do that when I'm doing the fraction. And there's 30 shaded out of 100, 30 hundredths. That decimal is zero holes and 30 hundredths. Guys, on these type of numbers, remember that you can always, they're equivalent, they're equal to this. You see that? 30 hundredths is equal to 3 tenths. Okay, so you might see that on one of your assignments. Here, I'm not gonna do it because I can't even see it. My eyes don't allow me to see that. Okay. The next one is draw a model for show each of the following. Okay, we've been doing that already. You did it in class yesterday. So here we have 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, and 2 tenths. Okay, here we have 2 holes, and you know what? I know that this is a hole, right? Well, I'm gonna do a different way. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 10 tenths. If I combine those, that makes a whole, right? So, but I want to do it a different way. So that's 10. And then here we have 3 more tenths and 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. Okay. If I regroup these, this would make one of those. So that is still 2 holes, the number 2 as a whole number, 3 tenths and 4 hundredths. Here I don't have any whole numbers. Here I have 2 tenths and 4 hundredths. Here I have 1 whole and 8 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Next page. Okay, here we're going to write it in standard form. Okay. Standard form or word form, I always like to remember to include my chart. Okay, so here we have, of course, the units, the thousands. I doubt I'm ever going to go to the thousands place when we're talking about decimals, but you just never know. Okay, so here's my decimal, and then here are the tenths, and then the hundredths. And I'm going to go ahead and add the thousandths. Okay. So here we have 4 and. So I know that 4 is there. And remember to always circle the word and, because and symbolizes that decimal point. Okay, we've always told you when we're talking about whole numbers, don't say and, because and means a decimal. So you've heard that before, and now you can finally add that decimal and the word and. Okay, 4 and 3/10. Tenth is going to tell me that there's only going to be one space after that decimal. Okay, so I'm going to fill it in with my 3. 61 thousandths. Okay, so there's 0 whole numbers. So I'm going to use my 0. Okay, and thousandths means that there's going to be 3 spaces after my decimal point. Well, if I say 61 thousandths, if I include my decimal point, if I include my 61 right here, that's going to change my number to 610. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to put the 0 in front right here and then the 61 thousandths. Okay, the next one, 52 and. That makes me know that there's 52 wholes and is a decimal. 36 hundredths. 6 hundredths means that there's going to be 2 spaces because the 100 has 2 zeros. 2 spaces after that decimal, so 36. And that's how you do word form. I mean, standard, from word to standard form. Now we're going to do word form. Okay, so now here example is 5 and 12 thousandths. Okay, because the 12 it ends in the thousandths place. Okay, here we have 45 and remember I like to circle that and so I can know that my decimal's there. 3 and it ends in that tenths place because there's one digit after the decimal, so it ends in that tenths place. And I like to underline the THS to make sure that I write it. If you don't write it on there, I will count it wrong. Anyone would count it wrong because that is super important to know that you're talking about decimals. Okay. The next one, there's no whole numbers, so I don't have to say 0 and. If you want to, you can, but on any book or STAR test or anything like that, there won't be any zeros and. So I'm just going to say, just like it is, that is 683. Now it has 1, 2, 3 spaces, 3 zeros. That's thousandths. Thousand, THS, thousandths. Okay. Here we have 9 and now this number again, there's a 0 in front of it, so you don't say that 0. And 49 and it has 1, 2, 3 spaces after the decimal, so that's 3 like the thousand, 3 zeros like the thousand, so that's thousands again. Thousandths. Okay, good job. Let's see, let's go to this fraction part. This is the last part that we're going to do. Okay, here's the decimal. It has 0 whole numbers and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths. Okay, how do you write it as a fraction? Well, there's 7 shaded out of 10, 7 tenths. Okay, this next one, it's a little hard to read, but I know that this is 20 and this would be 80, but there's not 80 all the way completed. So I know that that's 79. So I know that there's 0 whole numbers and there's 79 shaded out of the 100, 79 hundredths. So that's 79 hundredths. Okay, and the last one for today, 1 whole, And there's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 hundredths.